and welcome back to the FPL Family YouTube channel. I'm Sam, and today we are relaunching the ever popular and the much requested Jammy Pick. Now, for those of you that don't know what a Jammy Pick is a player that's under 5% owned, who nobody's really talking about in the game, and who I think is going to have a great game. Now, Jammy Picks are for 1 week only. Occasionally, they might have a bit more longevity, but this is a pick who you might want to go for just 1 week because the fixture looks really good, or because there's something in the underlying stats that suggests that they're going to have a particularly good game week. Now, of course, going into game week 1, slightly more complicated when it comes to picking a Jammy Pick because we don't have any background in terms of a previous game week or any kind of form that might suggest that something is going to happen for them this time, but that's what makes Jammy Picks so interesting. So I've picked out 4 picks, and there's going to be one of these videos every single game week throughout the course of the season. 4 picks, we're going to talk about them all, and then at the end I'm going to pick one who is going to be my Jammy Pick for the week, and of course we'll see how many of those over the course of the season perform in the way that I'm expecting them to. So our 4 Jammy Picks for game week 1 are on the screen here. So we're going to start by going through them, talking about who they are and why I think that they are likely to have a good game week this week. So starting with Konza there, Aston Villa, owned by 1.2% of the game, so the definition of a Jammy Pick. Got a game against Watford in game week 1, so fixture looks nice. Only City and Chelsea kept more clean sheets over the course of last season than Aston Villa did. Konza also managed to get 2 goals last season, both of those coming from inside the box, showing how attacking he likes to be, and he will get forward particularly from set pieces. So I think that there's some potential upside for Konza also. But if we look at the opposition in terms of Watford, didn't score a lot of goals in the Championship last time around, and that was one of the factors that's kind of made me go with Konza this time around, because there doesn't seem to be a lot in the way of attacking returns. From a Watford perspective, they definitely look better defensively, so the clean sheet looks like it's got potential to be there. So Konza's one that I think could be a real Jammy Pick this time around, because the majority of people just aren't talking about the Aston Villa defence, probably because there's been so many incomings in terms of those forward positions, and also because most people, if you're going to go with the Aston Villa defence, just go Martinez. Alongside him there on the graphic is Sadio Mane. Now, of course, Sadio Mane is not cheap, but Jammy Picks do not need to be cheap. Mane is currently owned by 4.1% of the game, and of course starts the season against Norwich for Liverpool. He was 9th, as I mentioned in a previous video, for XG underachievers last season. He also was 2nd for goals at Liverpool. Of course, he was behind Salah, but he was top for assists with 11, with 27 big chances across the course of the season. So Mane had, on paper, a good season. He just didn't quite get the attacking returns that we would have hoped or wanted from him from a FPL perspective. He did get 11 goals last time around from 94 attempts on goal. So again, potentially could have been better, but that's why he could be a real Jammy Pick going into the start of this season, because the majority of FPL managers are talking about, can I save a bit of money by going Sancho over Bruno Fernandes? Well, in this case, maybe we should be looking at, can we save a little bit of money with Salah over Mane? Now, honestly, I think you need to go Salah. But if you want to go with the double up at Liverpool and you can afford to do this, then Mane is going to be an incredibly jammy option, particularly because he's owned by so few people. So if he does something in game week 1, you are absolutely likely to be onto a winner with him. At the top there, we've got Mbeumo. Now, Mbeumo is from Brentford. It obviously opens the season against Arsenal in the opening game of the season on Friday night, which I cannot wait to have that game kick off and FPL to be back underway. Now, Mbeumo is one that is currently going under the radar because the majority of FPL managers are going in with Tony, and as a result of that, probably a little bit reluctant to double up on Brentford forward players. So Mbeumo owned by just 1% of the game at the moment. In the 1920 season, which was his debut season, he got 15 goals and 8 assists. Last season, he got 8 goals and 11 assists. He did, however, show some signs of long COVID last season, so that may have impacted his stats, but had 2 good seasons in his opening 2 seasons in the Championship for Brentford, and I suspect that he will be doing good things for them coming up into the Premier League also. Tends to be a right wing player, but can play on the left, and did play there a couple of times over the course of the Championship season last time around. He is the sort of player, a bit like Jack Grealish, who gets fouled all the time, so will have potential for assists if they can score from free kicks. He also likes to cut inside, very, very good at long shot finishes. So I think it has potential in a number of different areas. Now, the game isn't necessarily the perfect fixture. However, last season we didn't exactly see Arsenal being watertight. And I think going into this season, they have strengthened in all the right places with Ben White. But whether that's had enough time to bed in remains to be seen. And I suspect that Brentford, in a London derby to start the season, will want to go all out attack wherever possible. So I think Mbeumo could have a really nice start to the season. And finally over there then we have Tsimikas. Now Tsimikas obviously is somebody that wasn't on our FPL radars at all until about 24 hours ago. On Sunday we saw Tsimikas suddenly have potential to be a really good FPL asset for at least a little while, with Robertson getting injured, what looks to be ankle ligament damage. Now, Robbo has tweeted to say that he doesn't think that this is a long-term injury, but ligament damage can be relatively long-term, so we have to wait and see how long he's going to be out for, and therefore how long Tsimikas can remain in our FPL teams for. But in terms of Jammy Picks, he could just about be the jammiest of them all. He's currently owned by 3.7% of the game, which actually has taken a massive jump since Sunday when he was owned by like 0.0% of the game. Obviously, as I mentioned with Mane, he plays against Norwich in the opening fixture of the season, so that has real potential for a clean sheet there. And because he's a Jammy Pick, it doesn't so much matter whether Robbo comes back quickly or not from injury from an FPL perspective if you want to own him. If he's out long term, to have effectively one of the cheapest players that you can have in the game playing for Liverpool in these opening fixtures feels really, really nice. So these are the 4 picks then that I think could be really good Jammy Picks. And actually, I think they've all got potential to be good Jammy Picks. Now, with 3 of them, they're also relatively cheap. So you can go into them. It would be fairly easy to go into the season owning Konza, owning Tsimikas and owning Mbeumo. It's much more difficult to get Mane, I do appreciate that. And as a result of that, because I think that you're going to have Salah, because you're going to probably want Bruno Fernandes, it does make picking Mane as the Jammy Pick for this week that little bit more difficult. So, this time around, for game week 1, the Jammy Pick will be Tsimikas. I don't think that you can look a gift horse in the mouth when they come. I've had Robertson in my FPL team now since my second draft. Kind of wanted to go up to Trent, but it's been a bit of a struggle to work out where the budget's coming from and do I want to upgrade other areas. This guy could be the gift that we've all been waiting for, because suddenly we're talking about a really cheap starting Liverpool defender. Now, yes, may have a problem 2, 3, 4, 5, however many weeks it takes for Robertson to come back to injury, but he is a Jammy Pick for game week 1 because actually we need him for game week 1. I think there's potential that we could get to wildcard with him depending upon what happens with Robertson. The fact that he's tweeting about his injury makes me think that might be a little bit of a wait till we see him back, but we'll find that out over the coming weeks. So this time, our Jammy Pick, for the opening Jammy Pick of the season then, Tsimikas at Liverpool. Let me know in the description below who you think is the best Jammy Pick for game week 1. If you haven't already done so, hit the subscribe button, and if you have enjoyed the video, hit the like button. I will be back ahead of game week 2 with our second Jammy Pick of the season, and we'll have a look how Tsimikas got on.